Who would like to read the first paragraph? This is just a review of last week's Sefer HaMitzvot. This is the 11th mitzvah of the 613 mitzvot. This mitzvah regards teaching and studying Torah. They're the same commandment. It's called Talmud Torah. So we're going to review just the last paragraph. Who would like to read?
Shall I read?
This command.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
This commandment is repeated numerous times. Learn them, do them, so that you will learn them. The commandment is stressed and encouraged in various passages spread throughout the Talmud.
Okay, toda rabba. And the other person who almost read, go ahead and read the next paragraph, please. There was another person, they said, can I read? So go ahead and read. Your turn.
Women are exempt from this commandment, since the verse says, "Teach your son." Our sages explain this obligation applies to teaching your sons and not your daughter, as explained in the Tetrad Kudishi.
Hidushin. All akavod. Okay. Who remembers what we said about this last week? Or just whatever is on your mind, whatever you think. Any comments, questions? There should be some questions. How can our sages, how can Hazal tell us that you do not need to teach your daughters? How is that possible? What do they mean? How can you say don't teach your daughters? Everybody teaches their daughters. So what do they mean?
Because many things, many mitzvot are for men. That's why.
Okay, that's correct. So does this mean when they say not your daughters, does that mean you should not teach your daughters anything? Or does it mean you are not obligated to teach your daughters everything? Because there's a difference. You can teach your daughters many, many things without teaching them everything. So which one is it? That you can teach your daughters, but you do not have to teach them everything? Or does it mean you should not teach your daughters anything?
You can teach your daughter, but not everything.
So is it saying that you are not allowed to teach your daughter everything? Or is it saying you are not required to teach her everything? There's a difference. Does it mean you are allowed, you can teach her everything, but you're not required to? Or does it mean you are forbidden to teach her everything? Don't be afraid to guess. It's okay to guess. It helps us remember more when we discuss it. Does it mean you are not allowed to teach your daughters everything? Or does it mean you are not required to teach your daughter everything, but you can?
Yes, Rabbi, we not required to teach everything, but we can teach them also
Excellent,
about
excellent,
their.
excellent. So the question is not about whether you can or cannot. The question is about obligation, right? There's a difference between there's a big difference between saying you're allowed to do something and saying you're obligated, you're required to do something. Obligated means required. Very good. Okay. And we are obligated to teach our daughters the halacha and the mitzvot that they're obligated to do. We're not obligated, we're not required to teach our daughters laws about the priests in the temple and how they slaughter animals in the temple, for example, because women don't do that. So you're not obligated. You don't have to teach them that. But that does not mean that it's asur. That does not mean it's forbidden. Now let's play a game. Who can tell me what asur means? What does asur mean?
Forbidden.
Nachon. Very good. Asur means forbidden. Asur. Who can tell me what mutar means?
Permitted.
Excellent. Kol hakavod. All right, I'm going to give you an example, and I want you guys to tell me, is it asur or is it mutar? Okay. A girl is learning about the laws of putting on tefillin. Those are the black straps that we put on the arm and the box with the quotations from the Bible on our arm and our head.
Asur.
He's not allowed to learn about it. Does everybody agree?
Not allowed to put.
Okay, so what I'm asking is a girl allowed to learn about it? I'm not asking about doing it. I'm asking about learning about it. Is it
Mutar.
mutar?
Mutar.
Nachon. Nachon. Absolutely, it's mutar. Absolutely. It's permitted. And according to the Rambam, just that you know, according to the Rambam, Maimonides, who is possibly the greatest rabbi after the Talmud, he is of the opinion that girls are allowed to wear tefillin, but they are not obligated to wear tefillin. Now, the reason most women do not wear tefillin is because there are so many obligations that a woman has to do, that she's obligated to do. A person should first make sure they are doing everything that they're required to do before we are doing extra things. But yes, there may be an opinion that a woman is not allowed to wear tefillin. I don't know any of those opinions from the top of my head, but I can tell you that the Rambam allows it. He permits it. But we don't normally encourage women to do it because there are so many other obligations that they are required to do that many people do not do. So it's about priorities. First things first. After we do all the required things, then we can do the extra things. Okay. Sipora, can you give us oh, I think you still have family. Sorry. Let me see. I want someone to give me an example of a question. Someone give a question and ask us, is it permitted or forbidden? Is it allowed or not allowed? So the question needs to be about learning, about learning. What can a girl learn? Is it forbidden or permitted?
Is women allowed to slaughter animals?
Okay, so we're asking about if she's allowed to learn about it. Is it permitted
Yeah.
or forbidden? And let's use the word
Not in
asur.
temple. Not in temple.
Say that again.
Not in a temple.
Okay. So you're asking, is a woman allowed to learn? No, you're asking, is a woman allowed to slaughter an animal? A woman
Slaughter
is allowed
animal.
to, a woman is allowed to slaughter an animal. But is she
Yeah.
required to? No, she's not required to. She's not required to. However, if a woman slaughters an animal, she needs to know the laws about slaughtering the same way that a man knows about it, if she does it. If she does it. So, is a woman allowed to learn about the laws of killing an animal? Is a woman allowed to? You guys tell me, is it asur or mutar?
Mutar.
Right? Do you all agree? Is it mutar for a woman to learn about the laws of slaughtering an animal, killing an animal? Is that mutar or asur?
Mutar.
Mutar.
All right, kol hakavod. Yes, it's mutar. Mutar. All right. Is a woman allowed to slaughter an animal in the temple?
Asur.
All right, very good.
Asur.
Okay. Does someone have another question example about learning? Let's really make the question about learning because that's the topic of this mitzvah. Is a woman allowed to learn the laws of...
Brit Milah.
Okay, yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. Is a woman allowed to learn the laws of Brit Milah? Because it's something she can't do. I mean, some places they do that, but that's evil. We don't do that. So a woman does not have to do Brit Milah, but is she allowed to learn it or is she not allowed? Is it asur or mutar?
Mutar.
All right, what do you guys say? What does everybody else say? Mutar or asur?
Mutar.
Absolutely. So the answer here is that a woman is not obligated to learn everything, but she's permitted to, she's allowed to. But the most important thing is that she learns what she's obligated to do first. Okay? Now, this is the difference between men and women when it comes to the halacha, the mitzvah of studying and teaching Torah. A woman is allowed to study, but she's not required to study everything. A man of Israel is required to learn everything. God does not require that we know every single thing perfectly, but God does require that we learn it, meaning we're trying to learn it all. And a woman is not required to be trying to learn everything. Every man of Israel is required to study, to try to learn everything. And men of Israel are required to teach their sons not only what they're obligated to do, but also what women are obligated to do. So that's the difference. All right, let's continue. Does anyone have any questions about this before we continue? Feel free to ask any question. No questions? All right, let's continue. We're going on to the 12th miswa'aseh, the 12th proactive commandment. Anyone want to read? Let's read. This is a short one regarding putting on head tefillin.
Shall I read?
Yes, please. Tizkula mitzvot.
Tiskulasu.
Tודה רבה.
The 12th mitzvah is that we are commanded in the action involving the tefillin worn on the head. The source of this commandment is God's statement, "Exalted be He, and they shall be for tofu between your eyes."
Continue.
This mitzvah is repeated in the Torah 4 times.
Excellent, excellent. So daraba. Okay. Does anybody have any questions about this? So when we read the Shema and we see the word totofeth, that's understood to be in reference to the tefillin of the head. Now, some people say that if you take it literally, then you should put the tefillin between your eyes, literally between your eyes. But there are more than one type of between. Okay? So let me see if I can. There a way that I think 1 second. And I draw. Here are my creepy eyes. Okay. So you have more than one kind of between eyes. All right. You have this bit, which is between eyes. But if you put something here, this is also between the eyes. Now, some people say if you take it literally, then it must be like this. You can actually find on the internet, some people put tefillin here. Seriously. However, the sages of Israel are very clear in the Mishnaic and Talmudic literature that the tefillin is put between the eyes, but above between the eyes. And some people try to argue about this because they reject the traditions of Israel. However, if we read the Torah carefully, we will see that there are other places in the Torah where it refers to between the eyes, and it clearly means between the eyes but above the eyes. Can anyone tell me where that might be? Any guess? There's another place, not about tefillin, it's about something else, where it uses the word between the eyes. And it's for sure talking about above the eyes, but between, not literally right smack in the middle. Anyone recall?
First drawing.
Say what?
First one.
This one?
No, no.
This
This
one?
one.
What
Yeah.
about it? What about it?
This one.
Okay. Well, all right. So there's a commandment in the Torah that when someone dies, we are not allowed to cut ourselves. Okay? We should not cut ourselves or do something else. What does it say? You should not cut yourselves for the dead or pull out hair between your eyes. It says you should not make a bald spot between your eyes. Everybody knows that there is talking about up here, not here. All right, let's continue. Who would like to read? Any volunteers?
Shall I read?
Bachavod, you can go ahead and read all of this.
The 13th mitzvah is that we are commanded the action involving the tefillin worn on the arm. The source of this commandment is God's statement, exalted be he, and you shall behind them for a sign upon your head.
All right, you
Upon
shall
your head.
bind them as a sign upon your head. Okay, Tamshichi, I'm sorry, Tamshichi.
This mitzvah is also repeated in the Torah 4 times.
Excellent. Okay, who would like to read the next paragraph? Anyone want to read the next paragraph? Maurice, would you like to read the next paragraph?
Yeah, sure, Robert.
Bachavo.
The proof that the tafleen of the head and of the hand count as two separate mitzvot is from the practice menachot.
Menachot.
In the passage, the sages express surprise at the one who proposed that one may not wear the tefillin of the head and of the hand independently, unless both of them are available. The exact quote is one who doesn't have to mitzvot shouldn't do one mitzvah. תודה רבה.
All right, Tizkula mitzvot. So we know that there are two mitzvot, two distinct mitzvot, because if you only have one of them, you can still put it on. It's not that they are dependent on each other. You can wear one and not wear the other if you do not have both of them. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to the Mishneh Torah. So we are concluding Sefer HaMitzvot. We're going to the Mishneh Torah. We are in chapter 1 of Barachot. Who can tell me how to find Barachot in the Mishneh Torah of the Rambam? This is the complete codification of Jewish law from the Talmudic literature. It covers all of the 613 mitzvot. This is the only code of Jewish law that covers all of the 613 mitzvot, covering all the topics of the Talmudic literature. Where do we find the laws of blessings? In Sefer Ahava, the book of love. Here it is. It's a subsection of the book of love. Chapter 1,